What is going on? YouTube world. Steve, Dave, Insert Revolution podcast number 61, episode number 61. No fancy number tonight. I'm sure some offensive lineman or hockey player at some point has adorned that number, but I did not do any research. I don't have anything on the top of my head, not even a hat. My research time is, albeit we just discussed it. It's semi-limited right now. It's we'll get into that later in the show. Don't want to start off with more work fun, but welcome everyone. We got a sponsor, Yingling. I don't have anything even chilled. This has just been on the front porch, so it's moderately cool. And
nothing. That doesn't even sound tasty.
Nothing in the fridge, so well, I've got those, but nothing, no mics. I got a couple black cherry. I just haven't put them in the fridge yet. But and then if Vinny ever shows up, I'm watching. We sent in our group text the other day. It's like, oh, guess who this is? I'm like, Demi Moore, or not Demi Moore. Who's the one from Friends? Courtney Cox. I thought that's who it was at first when I took a glance. I'm like, but Manon Riom. I got the Detroit Columbus game on. The benefits of ESPN Plus. So about 8-9 different games on tonight. I'd like to have the Oilers won at 8, but again, we'll be here, and I won't be jumping that boat, so I should get it. So this is the one that started latest.
I had to Google the spelling of her name because I didn't want to mess it up, but I knew exactly who it was. Well, I went with my first gut instinct, female hockey player doing broadcasting. It's like that's the first thing that came to mind, of course. Mm-hmm. But I at least had to Google the name so I didn't spell it incorrectly. I cheated.
That's all right.
But I immediately blurted it out. It's like, Manon Rion. I know who it is, but how do I spell the last name?
Yeah, I was completely at a loss. I just looked and what am I looking at? I don't know. I don't have a clue. Paul, it's like you're talking to a ghost there.
That's a good song, though.
Oh, yeah. Who was it, the Everly Brothers?
Sure. I can't remember.
What's going on, Yannick?
At some point, we're going to get him on the show just because.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say that. Of course, he would have to be willing to put himself through the torture, I guess.
Yeah.
And again, he may be like, maybe not. So there must be baseball on tonight. Is there baseball on tonight?
There was earlier. I think the Braves and Dodgers were on earlier. I don't know if it is now.
I was just curious. Hey, LA Pats. 2 games. Okay, what's on TV?
Yeah,
because I thought Boston Houston was last night.
Yeah.
I'm not following. Okay.
Well, your Braves are on right now.
So both are playing tonight. Interesting. I'm surprised they have both games going on because typically they try and stagger them
to get all the ratings, as it were.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pulling for Atlanta. I'm an old school Atlanta fan. just because of TBS back in the day. And my grandmother was a big baseball fan, so if it wasn't the Rangers, it was the Cubs. If it wasn't the Cubs, it was the Braves. So, and Dave is stuffing his face. I
No.
did that prior to joining, or tried to at least partially stuff my face. And Yannick is avoiding my comment. If you haven't noticed yet, Dave.
I saw. So. Oh, good. So, anything pique your interest this week in the eBay world, or got anything on your radar that's popped up?
I have some stuff, of course, on the watch list. Our friend TNT has some stuff up. I have to cross-reference the checklist. I need to make sure I do that before Thursday because I always wait till the last minute because that's what I do. I'm a procrastinator.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Go figure.
Talking.
That's not a thing by any stretch of the imagination. I do actually have some stuff on Beckett Marketplace in my cart that I need to just pay for. Uh, Scratching some newer Terrell Davis stuff off for fairly cheap because I'm trying to meet my goal of the 2200, 2250, 2200, whatever my goal is. My unwritten goal. Can't even claim whichever one it is. I think it's 2200. Sweet. Yannick will join us at some point. You'll message Dave and I, and we'll figure out a day or time that works best. And you can come on after we chat the topic if you want, because that's when we kind of free flow after baseball season. Okay, that works. So quite a few, I think 12 or 13 Terrell Davis cards. Like I said, some of the newer stuff, just some base and inserts. Trying to get my number, and then I think 10 rookies for the 2002 Topps Chrome set that were fairly inexpensive that I've added. So I just need to pay for it and get them in process. So that'll be a nice little mail day. It'll be kind of boring, but yet it'll still up the numbers. So we'll see. And Dave, if you're talking, you're on mute, so it's going to be kind of hard to hear you. My diatribe is over at the moment, unless I need to continue. I can always find something to say.
No, never. No, Trista just stopped by. She was in town for getting together with a couple of friends for dinner, and back to Gilbert now. So
Gotcha.
Terry Pendleton, and I
David Justice.
that's the old, and that's where I want to sort of go with this. When you say old school, unless you watched, and we both did, TBS quite frequently. That's why one reason why it's the reference to the 705, huge thing for me in my childhood. I know it was for yours as well. It wasn't always about Maddox, Schmaltz, Glavine. I mean, the ones I remember the most are Ugly Otis Nixon,
Avery.
Charlie Liebrandt. I remember him because he was like 100 years old then.
Yep. Steve Avery.
Pendleton, Steve Avery. Mark Lemke, he was just that thorn in your side.
Yep.
Catcher, did they have Bream then? Or was it somebody? Oh, Greg Olson, because there was like two Greg Olsons in the league. One was a pitcher for Baltimore, and one was the catcher for Atlanta. So
Brian
I love
Klesko.
Klesko came along, yeah, a couple years later. I mean, he was sort of the half of what Chipper Jones was for trading card wise. When you had Chipper rookie in 91, and he still had prospect cards in like 95. Klesko, the rookie in whatever 91 or 92, and prospect maybe pushing into 94 because he got hurt a bunch too in that early. That's why they gave up on him. But at the same point, yeah, it's when you say old school Braves, it's just, and again, we're not old enough to watch Hank Aaron and the ilk of that generation. So I always find it interesting when you can tell who actually watched the games, which our good friend Cryptogriff, hashtag Cryptogriff, says it's nice to actually watch the game and watch the player instead of listening to the static around you, because Steve Avery for one or two of those years and real early on was probably the best of all of them. I know Maddox came in 92 or 3, I think, from the Cubs as a free agent. And it wasn't like a huge signing. I mean, it was big, but it wasn't like Yu Darvish signing a couple years ago, or when Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel went to Colorado for dumb money. It was like, okay, they solidify their rotation, but nobody thought it would be what it was as the years progressed. But Avery, he was on top of that mountain, and boy, did he quickly tumble off of it, because he.
Yep.
I remember his stuff was on fire, and then I remember in that Beckett's when they had the what's hot, what's not. He was usually up there with Darryl Strawberry and Gooden and Canseco on the top of the not list because his stuff, and then Justice would always fluctuate too, because I
Yep.
mean there's so much potential for him. And I don't know, he had a solid career, but I don't think it was anywhere near where a lot of people thought it'd be in 90, 91.
Yep. Can't forget Dion too. Back in those days.
I remember the game he had, I think a football game in New York, and then flew down to Atlanta for like a playoff game maybe.
Yeah, the first player to ever play in both sports in the same day.
Or Washington,
Something,
might have been
something
the
crazy.
Redskins, and then I don't know, it must have been against the Mets, so, something of the sort. But yeah, and that's when it was fun because you had MC Hammer was a big. I think he was a big Falcons guy. I know he liked the West Coast too, but you also had like TLC was involved because you had Andre Rison dating one of those like Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and he was a Falcon. I mean, it was just the time that they were both. I won't say hot, but I mean they were the it teams. You started seeing more starter jackets for the Falcons, where 5 years previous, the only time you saw anything of the Falcons was in a Goodwill or a thrift store, because that's where it belonged. So, yeah, the helicopter, the wherever you took the helicopter from, but that was fun. I like that era because a lot of these guys were retreads. Jeff Treadway, that would be another one. Where they weren't all. Yeah, he was. I know he's the Bay Area, a Bay Area guy, but Jerry Glanville was in the Too Legit to Quit video. Dion was, Andre Rison was, I think. So I mean, you had a lot of Atlanta flair, and I don't know. I can't remember if Dominique. I don't know if he was in there or not. But you could tell because that was another thing they did there. Deion Sanders would do they'd all do like the Too Legit to Quit thing after they scored a touchdown. So even though Johnny that he's off his rocker, that was a little later on, thankfully. That was late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that guy was a few fries short of a Happy Meal.
I don't think he's fries either. He's still several fries short. That I think I don't know if I have him on Facebook or not, but he's got some interesting opinions. well, we'll leave it at that. It's mostly of the political realm, so I try to just unfollow, and that's about it. I'm like, you can espouse your gibberish, but you're not going to change anything by just ranting. I know that all too well.
Wow. Sounds like something I said earlier, too.
Is it?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Damn, what a concept.
No, you said by watching the stuff, nothing's going to change, and I'll continue to be a grumbly curmudgeon. I know my
I've
ranting does nothing either. It's one six of one, half dozen of another. I know schematics and the nomenclature of said verbiage.
We haven't done the bingo cards yet, man. Let's not,
I've heard that on TV as I've watched a couple things. I don't remember. It might have been football on Sunday, the Chiefs Redskins game, and then I don't know if it's AEW, but they brought up if you had this on your bingo card, and I'm like, no, what? Hold on a minute. We don't have 10,000 views per show. There's not like 8,000 or whatever views after the fact either. How are these? Everything's just sort of. You're just like a chef, the Swedish chef. You're just sprinkling here, scrooty dooby dooby doo, bingo code. No, come on now. If you see it like once a month or once a year, it's like, okay, basically twice in like 2 days. Mm-hmm. Who else is watching?
makes you wonder.
I don't.
Makes you
At
wonder.
some point, all the puzzle pieces have to come together. So,
Well, Dave, we can only hope that somehow, shape, form, or fashion, people will at least start quoting their resource. Giving credit where credit is due. Now, that's wishful thinking because obviously that hasn't worked in our favor yet. But
no,
then again, I digress.
it'd be nice, but that's where it, like we've said, I don't know how many, it seems weeks in a row. That's where even if we hate someone, even if we despise them, dislike them, just don't agree with their ideology and philosophies, collecting wise or life wise or whatever it was. If we take that nugget, we pick that berry of knowledge from their whatever wilting tree they've got. We'll give them the credit they deserve because that's unless we've thought of it and it's like, okay, even then we'll be like, oh, I saw this guy and it sort of reinforced what I had thought or you had thought or somebody in the group had thought. We'll give them that their due, their respect, their acknowledgement instead of constantly like pretending that they come up with shit because most of these fuckers out there aren't coming up with anything. And most of their shows shouldn't even be on anymore because they're just rehashing the same shit. I mean, there's only so many times you can dig in the garbage and pull something out and hope that people watch and care about it because it's the same shit.
Obviously, they still have found a way to do
And
it.
it befuddles me. It absolutely flummoxes me, and I don't want it to have a quote from a Swedish pop group from the 70s, but it's like ABBA. Somebody's got to call out SOS. It's the same old shit. And not saying that we're trailblazers or anything, but there's a box, and most of the time we're sitting outside of it. I mean, some of the times we're dipping in, but it's not the same like positivity parade that everybody else is chiming about, or you want to touch on a little negative stuff. No, can't do that. We gotta be smiles and fucking toilet flowers and rainbows and unicorns and no. Ooh,
It's been a while since that's come up.
so if you have that on your bingo card, good for you.
I still think we need to find a way to make that happen.
I think it can. You can, and again, I don't know. In these unsettling times, like would it be Kinkos? Even if that's still a thing, like if you can go there or some other type of paper place and figure that out, or just do it on some sort of Microsoft program or Adobe or I don't know, whatever on the computer.
Well, so there's bingo card generators out there. So you'd have to that's DC's job right now.
Mm-hmm.
Remember last week I put him in charge of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's been failing miserably as of late. No offense, I'm giving you crap because I'm sure he's watching. I'm waiting for my phone to go off and be like, Steve, how dare you? I thought you were I thought you were joking. No, no, this is a legitimate task.
Yeah.
We need to be able to go to a website, put in multiple words to where we can ensure that all the cards are different, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have to do the only thing is I don't know how we could make it work. As they generate, I guess we'd have to do screenshots or whatever, and then send each one either via text message or through Instagram to those who would be here, because we don't want to send them all to everybody that would be here or not.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they go to the people who are here watching. We can do it after we get through the topic, because that's about where we build up to our normal high percentage of watchers. What's going on, Mike? And then as we progress through the end of the show, we'll see if anything happens. And then, like I said, we can give something away. That's something that we'll have to figure out what we'll give away. But
Yeah.
I think it's doable. I think it's doable.
And it won't be like a $5 gift card. You got the card or Star Stock or Card Ladder or any of the bullshit that's out there. That
You took away my Dave. You took away my idea, man. Come on, that's what I was thinking.
Well,
We got to get out of this cheap. Nobody's paying the bills yet, so we got to get out of this cheap.
I didn't say that. Maybe we have a $5 gift card for eBay or. Well,
I'm sure between the two of us, we could probably figure out something nice pulled out of the collection that we can give to somebody.
Yeah.
Or we'll say a $25 gift card to a card of your choice type situation. I don't know. Make it more personal to the individual who wins. We can iron out those details at some point. We just have to figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
So DC, you're on tap. If you would please, sir, in your free time, see what you can figure out. Since I know you already started capturing words and everything, so part of the work's already done. We just need to figure out the best way to approach it. And I'm open for ideas. If you come across something, I'll end up doing it if you can, help a brother out and kind of do some digging. That would be most helpful.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, seriously, man, can't you do it yourself? I hate you. I know what he's thinking. I already know what he's thinking.
Oh, I know. It's a giant FU. That's it. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, he kind of inadvertently accepted the task last week by sending all the words.
No.
So it's like, well, hey, you kind of you started the train rolling. Let's see it through to the next stop, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he took the train out of the station and hooked up all the cars. I mean, I don't know how many phrases and words he came up with, but
A lot.
There were more than I would have thought in the one felt swoop. I would have probably got like 10 of those, and then a couple of them like, really? Guess we haven't used that in a while.
Yeah, there were a few that it's like, wow, when was the last time we used that? Holy crap, that's been like 30 episodes ago, it seems. Of course, if we went back in the archives, it probably was, 3 weeks ago or something.
Yeah. Or 3 minutes ago.
Or that too.
God,
Memory gets worse as you get older, right?
I know. That's the terrible truth.
And as I was sitting here, I did get a text message, and I'm thinking, oh, I told you, watch, I'm going to get a text message. It wasn't him.
Shockingly.
I'm still waiting.
He's usually right on that. And
Yep.
And I don't
And
know
then, of
why.
course,
Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't know if it's showing up for everyone else, but it hasn't been showing up for me like the last 3 episodes or so. It's been like the placeholder picture.
So I see it when I go to my subscriptions and I see the placeholder. Usually I'll see the picture.
Okay.
But what's interesting is because, as you know, I also log into YouTube as us.
Yeah.
Because that's what I used to, type the comments in or questions or responses to everybody. And now that we're both actually in StreamYard, I type actually in StreamYard. But I still make it a habit to pull it up on YouTube. But what's interesting is before, when I would go and have it up on YouTube or whatever, and we were waiting to go live or whatever, the image was there.
Okay.
The image hasn't been there for probably the last 4 or 5 weeks for whatever reason. So I don't know.
So I'll see it. Like, we went live, I saw it. And after the fact, I'll see it. But leading up to it, it's like just a blank. I'm like, So if nobody else can see it, I don't know how to circumvent that. Because again, it's the same stuff I've been doing. So
Yeah, that's a good question, Dave. I'm interested to see if anybody else sees it. If they happen to be looking on YouTube at their subscription list and they stumble across the placeholder in preparation for the show, because I know you try and get it up usually over the weekend, and I've never not seen it when I know you've got the placeholder up, but for whatever reason, like I said, when I log into YouTube as us on the YouTube channel in preparation for go live, there is no image there.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting to hear what everybody else says in the event that they're hanging out kind of early to see if the image is there or the placeholder image is there. I'm willing to bet it probably isn't for whatever reason.
Yeah, because usually there's some sort of chat in the group text about that. Even if it's just like, boy, that's dumb, or something that's like, Carlos and his snarkiness. I know, again, hard to believe. Like that, I like what you did there. That's ingenious. So, and there hasn't been that, so it's just like, So I just assume that nobody else can see it, and which again, it's fine, but at the same time, you still like to get people to see like our creative side too, not just like a floating head with another floating head. And
all right, Dave, I'm going to correct you. Your creative side. I do not lay claim to any of that. Don't do that. I am not the creative mind behind any of this. I'm along for the ride, I guess. So Mike said he saw it for tonight.
Okay.
So yeah, I haven't seen it the last 3 or 4 episodes that I'm aware of. But then again, I'm logged in as us, so I'm not like chatting as me. I'm chatting as us, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I don't know. Well, Paul, you might as well go ahead and call it an evening. It's good. It's great having you. Uh, that floating head show was on Saturday, I think. I think maybe I could be wrong. Top 5 lists. Those are daily, it seems, if I'm not mistaken, from a lot of people.
A lot of the smartest people in the hobby.
I would like to bring up something once we get through the topic here in a bit, though, Dave. Something that I sent to, I think, you and Vinny specifically. Uh, but we'll touch on that. I don't want to. No spoilers. I'm sure other people probably saw it, but I'd be interested to see what comes out of that conversation for something that was posted on Instagram about a guest that somebody was going to have. You probably don't remember, Dave.
I was just, I'm struggling. I remember a couple things, but other than that, it's
Here,
just
this will refresh you.
no. We don't want to do that, Joe. That ah,
See, now you remember.
Joe. Perfect segue into the topic. So thank you, and the reminder too, because again, remind me about getting to work after the topic, because I could go on about that for a while, but right about that time to at least start dipping into the topic.
Do I let him in, Dave, or should I let him sit there in timeout? Do I let him in? Do I let him in? He's
Man,
patiently waiting. He's shaking his head no, so obviously he's damn, too bad I couldn't got that in a screenshot because I'd have sent that to your daddy. What's going on, Vinny?
That was not the softer side of Sears there.
Damn it, I wish I could have gotten that in a screenshot.
I bet you would have.
Because then I would have shared it and made sure, hey, Dad.
Better half.
I'd have gotten you in trouble. You know I wouldn't do that to you.
Never.
Right to the better half, right to Vinny Sr.
I'm not that bad. I'm not that vindictive, man. I'm not that vindictive. If it was somebody I could give 2 shits about, then it's a different topic of conversation. But I'm not that vindictive. But I still wish I would have caught it.
I'm glad you at least give 3.
I wish I still would have caught it, though, because that would have been great. Don't forget, Vinny, be careful. I have something on you. Put that in the bank for later. No, I'm not that. I'm not that douchebag. I'm not a jagoff. In the words of Vinny.
Yep.
I saw, to bring that up quick before we get into the topic, I saw a thing of produce at the store, at the one we bought when I was helping break down their pallets. I don't even remember what it was because I just looked up the corner of my eye, and on the fucking box it said JAKOV. And instantly I'm just like, what's in there? What nonsense lies beneath that cardboard? Because I'm sure it's nothing good.
Tiny little southwestern Pennsylvanian dudes after the Steeler game when they lost. Jagoffs! Jagoffs!
And you didn't take a picture of it, Dave? How dare you?
if it would have been as like the conclusion of Freight, I'm not. It's a different beast at that other store because they sort of. And again, this is from my observations. When I go hard. I want to get shit done. Then later on, let's talk. We'll chatter later. But when there's like 3 pallets to do here, there's 1 in dairy. And again, they don't get nearly as much as we did at the store I worked at. You think, okay, man, I want to get this done quick, and then we can do whatever. But seeing that, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, and there's like 4 of them standing around. I'm like, let's pick up the pace. So, and I knew I should have taken that picture. I thought about it like 20 minutes later. I'm like, you know what? You need to take a picture, and I forgot about it, and I remembered it though. But I went back, looked today, and I didn't see anything. I'm like, I'm sure they'll get it in at some point, but next time I see it, I'll stop in my tracks. Okay.
That's a fail, Dave. That is a fail.
I know, believe me, that's my Declaration of Independence lists of failures. I mean, it's add another one to it.
It's growing by the day, it seems. It's growing by the day.
Watching home ec close and Team Schmedium, and I don't know which one I turned on yesterday for Naomi, because it's usually like the top 5s or car crash videos, or now she's fixated with this stupid Pokemon Switch game, which I can't watch the walkthrough. It's just, I don't care. The one guy fights all the Pokemon, the other guy narrates over him fighting, and I'm like, both of these are pain. I'd rather watch like strip teases by like the Team Schmedium and Stinkline people, because it's that bad. It's so painful. Like, the guy's talking and it's like, oh crud, what are we gonna do? Crud. Let me.
I'm throwing a flag on what you just said, Dave.
No, never.
Please, can we please find a way to strip that from the record?
Don't you got a?
I mean, that's holy cow. That's like they haven't even invented a penalty for that one yet. Holy cow. That's about right. Jab you something in the eye.
Both are equally horrible. Both I would not want to deal with, but Naomi's like, I like watching this. I'm like, why? This guy says crud every 2-3 seconds. I'm like, I don't care what your target audience is. You can say crap. You can say dang. I don't care, but just crud. Nobody says crud ever.
Crud.
Well, again, other than these few times you're hearing it now, and if you somehow had it on your bingo card, my God, what a lucky day for you.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I put I'm going to collect somebody new one on, and she's like, this is torture. I said, this is torture. You are very right that you're wise at your young age. She's like, what should I draw? I said, draw Team Schmedium with a vat of acid over his stupid Velcro backwards hat. I'll see if I know she has it in like her sketchbook.
Oh, he's on a mission. He's on a mission.
The one that she has here.
Vinny, are you getting a little annoyed there?
I can't believe it.
I have caught the dog.
I got a 10-year-old and a dog, and they're both causing me anguish.
No.
So,
Tell her to lay off the coffee.
that was one picture.
I appreciate you, bro.
It's like that's the. And this is what the And she said, "Remember to shoot me in the corner." There she is with like. So
Recreation of Squidward.
it's not a very good hat, but
Hey,
it's
she
the
tried.
acid over the head, so I'm assuming the acid would have torn through like the Kmart hat or whatever. So
I like the representation. Tell her nicely done. Nicely done. Do we need to put you in timeout, Vinny?
Put myself
Wrong
in. Hit the wrong button.
Yeah. Tell her to lay out the coffee.
yeah, that's
I need this kid's energy. Malone.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Say goodnight, Cecilia.
Good night, C.
Okay.
Yes, take Groku and go to bed.
Hey, Jack and Groku and
Groku? Who the heck is
Goku,
Groku?
whatever.
Dude, this is a baby Yoda.
Adiamo.
That's Groku.
Not Groku. This is
That is Groku. That's his
That's
name.
it. That's Baby Yoda's name.
Baby Yoda. That's
He's
his name.
not really Baby Yoda. Learn your Star Wars canon, child.
Well,
Ed-
I
Ed would
never
be-
watched Star
Crypto
Wars.
Griff would be
I never
disappointed
watched
in you.
Star Wars.
The joys of children,
oh,
or lack thereof, sometimes. There are moments. There are moments.
yes.
It happens.
Good.
Go to bed. I know she can't hear me.
Bubba.
Go!
Where's the better half when you need her?
She's up there with Shelby. They're working on wedding stuff.
Ah,
Not interesting to a 10-year-old.
no.
She
At
needs
all.
to go to bed because she comes home from school. Hug me, father. I'm like, why? I just saw you like 8 hours ago. I haven't seen you in 8 hours. I'm like, okay. Are you hungry? There's some pizza. I don't want pizza. Well, that's what you're having. So I try.
So back to the topic at hand.
So 10 minutes ago, 11 minutes, and I'll speak for the other two cohorts on the screen right now. We keep and we've said it before, this isn't anything, we're not telling any tales out of school. We don't sit there and espouse what we're looking for, card wise or collectible wise. Usually it's cards. We're not really like Bobby, we're not picking up knickknacks or whatnot. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not our lane to stay in collecting wise. I mean, there's something we see at a rummage sale, a thrift shop, something along that line. We'll make plays, but when it comes to cards, we're not going to put all our information that we've either looked at over the years and built up our treasure trove, or lack thereof to probably some people, of knowledge. I know our good friend, my good friend, Eric, goes back page, it says, share your knowledge. I say share it to the degree you're comfortable with sharing. Don't just share it for people to profit off of it. Don't do it because you want prestige. Again, it's YouTube famous. There's no YouTube fame. There's no hobby hierarchy. If you think there is, again, I'll get the thimble out and you can have a dick measuring contest. It gets, I'd say, tiresome. That's usually what I'll use. But you see people constantly out there that maybe haven't got their card yet of even a player, just like pumping it. Oh, this is a great insert set. This is this. Well, we've said it. Get something in hand first of anybody, then make those statements. Just because somebody shows a cool scan, I know Paul does it with his the lighting or whatever, and then sort of like the rotation deal. Get your own copy in hand before you start saying it how good it looks, because you don't know. That's like saying, man, I really love those Teslas. Well, have you seen one? Well, I saw pictures online. Well, cool. I saw Victoria Falls. Amazing. No. Have I been there? No. I saw pictures on the internet. That's not the same thing. So don't make that an argument, and don't if you've got a player, if you want a copy of whatever card, whatever you're looking at, don't say that unless you've got what you're looking for. Unless you're comfortable, especially if you, God knows whatever reason, some of these people that have thousands of followers that can barely tie their own Velcro shoes, if you've got some kind of following like that, don't sit there and be surprised like, oh, some of the stuff's going up now. More than likely, it's not going to be due to you. That I hate to burst those bubbles, but just because you say something doesn't mean 15,000 people are going out and buying something. Well, there maybe be an uptick and you see people in your quote-unquote inner circle buying them. Yeah, if you say that and you haven't had these discussions before. If you have had these, then this won't be any new news to them. But it might be to your outer periphery of your, not even inner circle. It's just people that you, if you're in like a Facebook group per se, and you say something in there and all of a sudden 15 people show off their card. Well, guess what? They might not have got it all in the last 2 weeks. Believe it or not, before you had that thought about something, guess what? Other people thought it. I know. Hard to believe. I'm glad you didn't make any audible noises, Vinny. I don't want to hear that gasp like Tracy Morgan. Gasp!
Sheesh!
Thank you.
Don't watch it, he says. But he quotes it like it's the living Bible of Zebeckett.
I've learned from Vinny. It's all Vinny's fault.
Damn you, Vinny.
I got broad shoulders.
And if you don't want people to know specifics, and again, it's not for anything. Again, maybe it is to make money. Maybe you're like, okay, I see something over there in the corner that's blocked by all the PMGs and Skybox rubies. Oh. Well, you know what? There's some other stuff out there. Maybe I'm not saying it. Maybe Vinny's not saying it. Maybe Steve's not saying it. Maybe Robert's not saying it. Cryptogriff is in the cave concocting schemes and plans. It doesn't mean we have to go out and a lot of the time we'll talk to each other because we know, especially if we say, hey, not to be shared anywhere else, here's this. We're not going to turn around and give our opinions on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or make a 20-minute YouTube video about how we switch directions because of something here or there or anywhere else. We're going to do what we do for each other. Keep it quiet. Be like, okay, and if it's something we haven't thought of, yeah, we'll be like, okay, news to me, but yeah, I'll take a look, and then you surmise from there. But where people constantly have the idea that, and again, I know money or they want to get famous, which again, somewhere else it's lacking, obviously. I don't even mean in the dick size, it's just somewhere else in their life isn't fulfilling. Because I don't give a shit if I had 1 follower or 1 million, I'm not going to be any different. I'm a fucking asshole. I don't care. And if you don't like me, play in traffic so I can run you over.
Hashtag truth.
Hashtag not allegedly.
No.
Mm.
Hashtag 15 to 20.
Hashtag I couldn't see him.
Hashtag leaving the conversation as not to incriminate myself.
Hashtag too
Oh.
late.
Okay, hashtag allegedly. There, problem solved.
But if you do that for that purpose, then don't be surprised if you don't have the deep pockets and all of a sudden, oh my God, I can't afford what I was talking about. We've said it before, we'll say it again. Keep some of that close to your vest. There's no need to put it in the daily journal or whatever that you're going after this card, this player, this, that, whatever. If you've got everything you've wanted of said player, go wild. But usually that means some of these nefarious influencers are cornering the market and then doing some pump and dumps.
Sam Darnold.
Oh God, people didn't dump them quick enough. I hope they're holding the bag of rotten fish now because he's turned out to look like a human stink line, which is perfect. But that's why you keep, even as a social media influencer, somebody that people may look up to, you. I would never be in that, I'm collecting this guy now. I'm going to do this. You know what? I saw this guy at a golf tournament. He was on the plane and he waved to me. No, he didn't. Again, if you had a job, you wouldn't be able to afford these opportunities because right now, the only thing you do in life that's any good is wear clothes that are too small for you. But you don't need to make videos about that. I mean, if you get a huge collection, and again, I know we all did it. By we all, I mean Steve and I. If like back in the day, you'd see that on YouTube. Most of the time, it was a new rookie or a rookie coming out, or somebody that was like 6 months in. And you're okay. Hypothetically, Mike Anderson. You got anything from SPX, SP Authentic, whatever else came out later in the year? Let me know. I'm your guy. Bowman Reserve, maybe. I'm looking for them. He wasn't in any early season except pros and prospects, I think. But you would say that just because, again, you didn't know. It wasn't like today where you have 8 billion social media influencing sites, and this was just basically you were in your corner with your guys and gals. The collecting people were there. Sneaker guys were there. Most of the wrestling guys were there. Whatever niche you collected, it was a separate entity, a separate file. You had some overlap, but that was because, okay, we collect cards. What else do you like? Wrestling. Okay, there's a few of us that like wrestling together. But it's not like it is today. It's like, well, what do you like? Oh, fuck, I love baking cookies. I love catching butterflies. And I love sports cards. Like, okay. And here's like, you go through every list, and everybody from every genre knows you. Back then, it wasn't like that. So, okay, I'm going to collect Titus Young now. I just got like 20 cards. If you got some, let me know. If not, whatever. Just something that way. People, when they busted the stuff, because you could actually bust the stuff back then, and not lose your mortgage payment on a box of Collector's Choice, they'd offer you. They'd be like, okay, I know this guy's been collecting Titus Young, or I'm trying to think of the Michael Agnew. I can get rid of this guy for at least get something back. Now you have to post up videos all the time or let people know anywhere you post, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why? Besides wanting to be famous. Again, the people that are posting aren't becoming famous, they're becoming infamous. At least with the logical people in this hobby, which again, every day seems to be dwindling.
Don't
But
you mean infamous, Dave? Infamous. Come on, get it right.
They're getting in with the in crowd. So just because you don't see posts time after time, Cyndi Lauper style, from us, from other people of our ilk. I mean, Bob seems to have like a photo dump once every couple weeks, maybe, of some stuff. But I mean, if you look, I've got a ton of pictures up. But it's not like, oh man, I've stopped getting stuff in the mail. No. Mail still is delivered up here. I still acquire more than I should. But it's not like I'm going to sit there and share everything. Because not every card has a 5-paragraph story. Nor should every card. It's like, man, I saw this card, I didn't know it was out there, so I picked it up. I don't need to see how it contours in the light. I don't need to know what you think your number one insert is when it's a parallel. Everybody wants to get on that soapbox to climb the ladder of the hobby hierarchy. There is none. Give knowledge when you want. Give knowledge if you've got what you want to get. Or be prepared for your inner circle to be everybody in the hobby. And that's not what you want, because not everyone is looking out for you, and nor should you look out for everyone. Because if you do, that's a monumental waste of time. Not only in the hobby, but in life, because not everybody's going to be of the same quality person that you think you are, or you strive to be. The nefarious will be in the weeds. They will be in the bushes, ready to grab your Pelican case and turn that into TikTok money. I'm off the soapbox.
And Vinny looks really intrigued. It's like I hear the wheels spinning all the way in Texas.
This is resting dad face.
Resting dad face.
This is what my dad used to do back in the day when I was talking to him. He would just sit there and look intrigued. Whether he was paying attention, I'm not sure, but he always had an answer. So I think he was. Because
So then what's your answer then?
I have no idea. I don't know.
So in other words, Dave, he wasn't listening.
I get that quite often, so I'm not. And I know it's something we've talked about plenty of times. It's not like, oh my God.
It's nothing new.
No.
going back to where if I probably didn't meet Dave that night on YouTube, I was done. Because I came into it and I saw no hierarchy, yet everywhere I went, there was a hierarchy. I'm like, what do you know me from anybody? I'm just a guy asking some questions, giving some answers, making some chit chat, just like everybody else. Do I know everything? No. Don't want to know everything. I know what I know, and if I could help you, I'll help you. It's kind of simple. And it's just like you're nothing. You're nothing special. You know, I got Guns N' Roses lines flying through my head right now. Several songs that probably can't be repeated on YouTube for various reasons. But it's like, come on, who do you think you are? And if you take that responsibility of being a influencer, you better make sure that you lead people down a path that you think's straighter and narrow than what you would walk yourself, because you are taking responsibility of someone else's actions in a way, their buying habits in this hobby. There's some negative repercussions on said person that could occur of the influencee, or as opposed to the influencer. At the end of the day, do they really care? I don't know. I'd like to say I hope they do. But
Most of them don't.
the thing about it is when everybody's a goat, you know, this he's the goat. He's the goat. Goat, goat, goat. No. He's a man. She's a woman. She's whoever. They are who they are. Whoever that person may be. Think for yourself. Take advice if you need it. There's tons of people that are willing to help you. But think for yourself. Hobby for yourself. If you want to earn yourself. Figure it out. Don't go down the straight and narrow path. Go down the straight and narrow path, maybe, as opposed to the one that's 80 feet wide, filled with a bunch of jugheads that don't care about you. If you're gonna be influenced by somebody, at least let them be your friends and not people that'll steer you wrong over the almighty dollar.
Right.
Soapbox done.
Well, and on the flip side of that, though, if you look at a lot of the influencers, though, what they're providing is not, it's not like shocking news.
No.
Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Giannis, when they start throwing out the same repeat names, what really, what value are you adding? If you're collecting the top people within the hobby, then technically the advice that you're giving is not wrong. Whether it dips, whether it goes back up is irrelevant. In the scheme of things, if you collect the best of the best within a sport, 99% of the time, you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to retain value. This isn't like breaking news. But on the flip side, as you said, Vinny, it's one of those in which if you have an inner circle, if you have a list of a group of friends that you appreciate their opinions and their advice, at the end of the day, if I told you one thing and Dave told you that I appreciate you, bro. If Dave gave you the opposite opinion and you went completely off base and went somewhere else because it's not that you didn't appreciate what we said or the advice that we gave or the recommendations that we gave. You took it into consideration, but for whatever reason, you decided to go with option C. At the end of the day, Dave and I aren't going to give a crap. It's like, hey, you asked, we provided some feedback. At the end of the day, it's really up to you. You're not leveraging what we're telling you to dictate what your next move is, no matter what that is. It's no different than, if Carlos decided he was going to go off in left field and start collecting, I don't know,
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. That's a good one. There you go. And of course, we would all probably fall out of our chairs and be like, what happened to Carlos? Did he hit his head or something? But to sit there and because he likes to poke fun at him and everything else doesn't mean that there's not value in what he's choosing to do, so to speak, from a collective. So in other words, we all need to fly up to Canada and be like, dude, are you okay? Are you okay? We all joke, we want our quote unquote collections to be somewhat of value. Granted, we do this as a hobby. Most of us, and I'm speaking for myself because, I know roughly what I've put into my Terrell Davis collection over the years. Yes, it would suck if it went to zero, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't care because I still have something to look back through and enjoy. And from that perspective, it still becomes something that I'm able to pass down to my kids at the end of the day, regardless of value or not. It's one of those in which you hope that in conversations as they get older, this was my dad's. This is something that he enjoyed doing, that he loved to do. This was his favorite player. Some of these cards that are in here actually were sent as gifts from some of his closest friends through all his years of YouTube. That's the stuff that's, more important to me than anything. The stories behind the cards, Dave, as you always allude to, there was a point in time in which I could look through my collection and go, yep, I know who sent me this. I know who sent me this. Not so much anymore. That's what happens when you get old, unfortunately. But at the same time, if I wanted to go back and remember, I could go back and watch my YouTube videos and figure out who sent it to me because they're there.
Yeah.
So the whole, and Dave, I liked what you said. I know you were kind of alluding to what I've said in the past, be careful who you let into your inner sanctum, as it pertains, not just your collecting, so to speak, but even from a relationship or a personal perspective. Vinny and I usually have a conversation on average about once a week. We chit chat, catch up or whatever, because you can only get so much via text message. I mean, you can. Let's be realistic. And then when you start getting pages of text messages, it just kind of takes away from a lot of things, especially since Vinny can't spell. Although he blames Apple for it. I think it's just Vinny. But that's okay. No. Good try. Good try. But there's times in which we get into deep conversations, deep personal conversations. Dave and I have gotten into deep personal conversations. It's good to have those individuals that you can talk to in those situations when you're down in the dumps and, you're going through tough times and stuff. You're not really doing it by yourself. Nice one, Carlos. Very well timed.
Mine does.
So it goes beyond just the card collecting though too.
Yeah, it's up to
If you try and expand it to where it's all encompassing, you're missing out on really, based on the premise of the show, those lifelong relationships and connections. because for those that look for the relationships more than the cards, if the cards go away, the friendships are still there, or they should be there.
Copyright
Should.
this. Copyright. Hashtag. If the cards go away, the friendships should stay.
I'm sure that'll be a topic on someone else's show within
Oh,
minutes.
fuck, man.
We'll see. Everybody mark it down. Everybody mark it down.
Survey says
Go off the air. Nobody cares. Floating. Chalk up another one for the good guys.
I thought we were the bad guys.
we are.
The bad guy. Hey, yo. Yeah, I've never. There's times in the past where I'd post something on Facebook, but it'd be something that had been festering for months or years. And you feel the only way, because of the situation you're in, the only person you don't even have, it's not like you want, and this is coming from me. This isn't, it's you put something out there because you can't fucking deal with it inside anymore. And you don't have, I don't need a support system per se. It's always good with you guys too to have something fired off you, because we've all been in some sort of shitty situation, any way, shape, or form that we can sit there and go back and forth. Before, it's just like, bam. You'd sit there, and I remember getting thrown when I would be at home after work, I would, most of the time that I'd play with Naomi, get her from, and then I'd basically lay down in bed. About 5-ish, I'd be done. I'd be done for the night. And so I was thrown a Time magazine that had depression as the main subject in it for that particular one. Here, maybe you should read this and figure out how to handle your depression. Like, oh, how kind. So then I would go, you sit there, and then with my mind, you'd sit there and it'd just be a battle, which it usually is anyway. But I mean, sometimes the seas of Lake Superior are very, very calm. Some they're Edmund Fitzgerald time. And you'd sit there and it's like, okay, I can't think about this for a month straight. Here, and here. I've got to just let something out. Of course, there'd be ramifications for that because I'd get bitched at, but at the same time, it's not like you look for, some people don't look for the notoriety. They don't want to have like, oh, come feel bad for me. I don't give a shit if anybody cares, and it sounds terrible, how I feel. I mean, I don't want the like, oh man, I have sympathy for him or empathy or whatever. I never want that. That's not me. People want to have that for me, that's great, that's fine. But at the same time, if I post something out there, it's not because I want attention or I want you guys to come like running and check in on me or, oh man, I know how you're feeling. It's because I just need to vomit. I need emotional vomit to get it out of my fucking head because of good. That's old Gordon Lightfoot is the best. And Paul, if you get Gordon Lightfoot stuck in your head, then you could read my mind. Anyway.
I don't think anybody wants to read your mind, Dave.
Well, no, it's a reference to his song. When I was my favorite.
I know
part,
what.
but I'm just.
I know, Dave. I know.
Some others might not know. We don't have. Sometimes we might have a younger viewer that just happens to accidentally click on this link. So,
And they'll go running, screaming.
telling their parents or it. But that's the thing. Where I say that, I have some emotional vomit, as I've said before. And Chris has said it as well. It. Some of the time, you just need to get it out because the torment of your mind is that way. Where these other guys, I'm not doing that to have 50 people, 100 people, 200 people like, heart, whatever it, message me. How are you doing? I don't care. If I don't get it out, my head and all the hot air in it and chicken sandwich information will crack. I can't have that chicken sandwich information getting into the Ethernet. That is not for anyone. So it, and to allude to your fact of letting people in your actual life inner sanctum, your inner circle, that's where things sometimes you just let it out because you just need to. I'm not doing that once a week, once a day for likes and influence and all this other stuff. It's, and again, this is what I like about the chat. I'm looking and I see stuff, and that's been a subject that's going to come up as just a straight subject, so it's not going to be anything of influence or interest to the influencers because it's not going to have any connotation, or they can't take the context from here and use it there. But at some point in the near future, there will be, spoiler alert, a music centric episode just about that. Because again, I know that's a lot of stuff that we hold. I wouldn't say near and dear. There's some stuff that we do, but there's also stuff that we just like to listen to in our certain moods. And I know all you guys and gals do too. I can't even think of any Bee Gees song because I know it's not the Staying Alive is it's not my favorite. I'm a huge Bee Gees fan. Oh, something about Massachusetts. That's one of their first ones. I love that. But anything Bee Gees, I'm a very big fan of, especially pre Staying Alive, Saturday Night Fever. They've got a lot of good stuff before that. So, but that will be for another episode because that will be one we'll probably go for 3+ hours, and we might even start early because we know it's going to be a lengthy episode.
Wait, whoa! Start early? No, that won't happen.
Yeah, start at like 7:05.
So actually on time instead of ish.
Yes and no. But like just bookending that point and wrapping it up. That's the thing. You can, when you start exposing some of those feelings, some of that real life angst or trials, tribulations, whatever. Unless you're ready for flack, kickback, anything that you might not necessarily want, always think before you put something out there. Just like card wise, don't put something out there that you're not comfortable. If you have read it and you're like, yeah, I don't know. Don't vomit emotionally unless you're ready to just say, fuck it. I'm not gonna. You can sit there and comment, do whatever. I'm just gonna erase it from my mind. I just need to get it out, and that you have that context in there that this is nothing. I don't want any of this other stuff. Just me vomiting. That's it. Make sure you know who you're doing that with. If you're comfortable with it, and if you're ready for the repercussions of it. Just like card wise, put something out there. I'm looking over here. I'm looking at making plays. The stuff's under the radar, and you give examples. It's like, okay, there might just be one person that's out there that says, okay, I see. And then somebody else hears about it from that person, and then another person hears about it. Then it gets back to home ec clothes, and they start making plays with all their short bus superheroes. So the adage is, be careful what you say, who you say it around, who you say it to. Because you never know who's listening, who's watching, because they won't always have your best interests in mind. And that's, again, that's always been told, but some people haven't been told it enough because they keep on making the same mistakes. Again, soapbox down.
Or they don't care.
Retract
No.
soapbox.
Just throwing that out there. It's like playing telephone.
Yep.
And all the song references in the comments there for a while. It was quite humorous to see. I still like this one the most, though. That's directed at you, Dave.
Did anybody notice the better half actually showed her face?
No, she was still off in the corner. I didn't see her.
Oh,
I knew you were talking to her, but I didn't
yeah,
see her.
she actually popped her head in and said, "Hello, gentlemen," but I was on mute.
Of course you were.
That's like an Easter egg in a movie. It's in the top right corner if you do this.
Push. If you see it, push the button.
She'll tell you her famous saying.
Shit up.
That's it. Thank you.
I got you, man. I got you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for not including the other word with it,
Bro.
Bra.
asshole.
Blah.
That I am. That I am.
Most of us are. That's why we get along. So do we button up the topic then, Dave, and kind of see where the rest takes us this evening? Or would you like to
That was a
to do a
half-hour rambling circle by us, or a triangle by us all? So
just thought I'd ask the question because I'm sure that there's other ways that we could take it. I just, I don't want to deviate if we have good conversation going on. I mean, everybody started talking music there for a while. Not that we'll go into music is what I'm since you already threw out the spoiler alert.
yeah, because that's one that I've had in my mind just for it's nothing where we even have to look at anything else. Just try to remember what we enjoyed. Detroit just scored, Vinny.
Ooh.
I don't know. It says Red Wings goal. Some Cov, I think, at the end. Let's see. Whoever. Let's see. 23. I think. I can't see the jerseys. Not turning around, and I don't know. To get out the old book.
Some of the new guys, I don't know their numbers yet, or even by the face. It's like, who might this be? It's like that with almost every team. I'm like, who's that? I'm not aware of this player.
What is this we're talking about? This must be hockey.
Yes.
Your first round pick last year, 2020, Lucas Raymond. First goal, I think. Yep. Nick Leddy and Dylan Larkin on the assists.
Does that look like white power?
Does that look like what? The better half came in. Does it look like something?
Always a good cop or topic starter.
Right. I hope we got some investment advice.
I know, Rick.
Hashtag invest. Finger puppets.
Oh, he's a first round pick from this year, so yeah. I'm sure there will be a lot of investments.
Help defeat something. I didn't see it all there, Vinny.
Cece's thing for help defeat drugs for school for tomorrow. So that's what they were up there working on.
Gotcha.
By the way, you missed it.
I
What did you
missed a
miss?
what?
You missed an adjective on shit up.
Oh, I did.
Bro.
She's on point, man. She's on point, and she's on brand. Damn it.
I just work here.
No, the correct response is I'm just a tourist. That's my answer to everything. Somebody asks me my opinion on something, and I really don't care to give it. I'm just a tourist.
Or when me and mom are arguing.
Yes, that's true too. Or when the wife and the kiddo are disagreeing.
Arguing.
I'll say disagreeing.
Arguing.
Okay, arguing.
She was asking.
Dad, babe, I'm just a tourist. I'm not in the middle of this conversation. I'm so sorry.
I'm just passing through.
She was just making sure that it didn't look like something else or had any bad connotations with the fist and all that stuff. And I was like, say no to drugs. How yeah, it's
What can we find wrong with it today?
just it's you never know.
Oh, I know.
That's why she was like, this doesn't look bad, does it? I'm like, say no to drugs. I mean, drugs are bad, I guess. And I don't guess. Those, whatever. It's the anti-drug day. She did her thing. She said no to drugs. All is well in the world.
Do they still have Dare?
I don't think it didn't say dare. It's because she's on student council, and it's some kind of say no to drugs week, and they have a big thing tomorrow, and she had to do a poster because she's on student council, and that was her thing. So yeah, Red Ribbon Week. I think that's what it is, or something of that nature, of that ilk.
So there's like a symposium tomorrow?
Yeah.
A lyceum?
Yes. She kind of made it like Captain America's shield. And that kind of idea with and then she chose different colors and whatever. It worked out nicely. Her artistic capabilities are pretty good for a 10-year-old.
Should make something about Captain Planet.
Oh, yeah. Captain Planet from back in the day.
He's our hero. Fighting pollution down to zero. Well, Captain Planet, you haven't done much.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
He went away too quick. That's why.
Yeah.
He was canceled off he only had 4 seasons. He needs to still be on. We'll put it that way.
Oh, he'd be on every day, every show, every television station, every network, every streaming option. So what about you, Vinny? Have you seen anything? And again, no need to say it, spoil it, whatever. Anything catch your eye over the last week or so on the Bay of E?
Yes, several things have garnered my attention, and I've pulled the trigger because they were hashtag good deals only. So the one last night I couldn't pass up,
No.
and the one I sent you, I could not.
Hit
That
that buy
was
quick enough.
yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's one of those. I couldn't get that one, but it's coming from our friends at ComC, so
6 to 8 months later.
yeah, it should be here in a while. But I threw another card in there while I was at it. It's been on the list, and I'm like, that's the cheapest price, even with the added 50 cents shipping. I'm just gonna get it and mark it off the checklist. And there we go. But I've been putting together other lists of other players in other sports that I want to start picking up.
Nephew
And-
scored.
Did he? That's 5 for the year, I think. He was always big on my list. I like his style, as they say. He has quite the fluff and the knocked out tooth.
Yep.
And he just I don't know, something about him. He's got
That
he's got
Jenna-
something.
Well,
Yeah, that's it. It's him. And if you catch it on YouTube, they have those the stories from the NFL. I just watched a James Harrison story. Wow, was that good? It's like it's free. I mean, you just type it in and bada boom, it was there because it was on the NFL network, and I DVR'd it. But I was sitting here one day and it popped up, and I was like, because my Netflix from upstairs or my TV from upstairs is hooked to this one, and they all talk to each other. So I must have realized I DVR'd it, but I was on YouTube and it said, there it is. So I sat down here and watched it, and it was tremendous. I was, if you haven't seen it, it's a interesting story. And now he's playing a wrestler on that show Heels, and he fits with that workout ethic of his.
mm-hmm.
He fits perfectly, and he
Remarkable.
offers no apologies, which is what I kind of like about the guy. He
Yeah.
played hard, and he just tells it like it is. And he said he's made mistakes, and it is what it is. And I think he's got at the least Hall of Very good career.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's Hall of Fame status worthy. In my book, you haven't had a guy like him since, Greg Lloyd was on that path
Mm-hmm.
with when it was Lloyd and Green together. Then you had Porter and Foote and those guys. Then you just had James Harrison. He just owned everybody. And for the 5 or 6 years where he was in his prime, and I met him once at a basketball game. It was Teachers versus the Steelers. And it was probably his second or third year. And he stood up in front of me, and I'm like, good gracious me. This dude has no body fat whatsoever because they're wearing cut-off T-shirts. And I'm like, this dude is just built like a tank. And he goes, hi, I'm James Harrison. I'm like, nice to meet you. And just he's a little bit shorter than me. I think he's like 5'10". They say he's 5'9". I don't believe it because he was about 2 inches roughly shorter than I was. But He could play basketball too, man. He had game, but that was a tangent story. But digress. That's what we do. If he was eating a chicken sandwich, it'd fit right in.
Well, he might make the Hall of Fame because of his contributions to the game. I learned that today in a wonderful video. Well, we'll talk about that later on, but yeah, it's I guess contributions to a game quantify as Hall of Fame worthy, or when somebody gets injured, then they need to be put in the Hall of Fame because of what may have happened or how their career would have panned out had they not been injured. So, Natron means we're going to the Hall of Fame. Finally. Gary
did.
Collins,
Kerry Collins.
who's going in?
Speculative Hall of Fame balloting. Interesting. Interesting concept.
No. It's because of their contributions to the game.
Well,
They were a bridge.
So elaborate, Sir Dave.
Here you go. Nephew getting in a fight.
so another reason why I like it. They'll throw it out.
Who should make the Hall of Fame based on contributions to the game?
Anyone that had a contribution to the game. If you had a 100-yard game, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Interesting concept.
I'd say if you led the league in rushing touchdowns, Barry Foster, you're going to the Hall of Fame.
I like Barry Foster.
Banat,
So in other words, it was a generalized statement with no context behind it, I'm guessing.
it was dumb to begin with, but the guy didn't give any. It was just like, well, it was the bridge between one generation and the next, and there was like a good 5-year period, but he got hurt, and the guy never won a championship. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, again, Dan Marino never won a title, but Dan Marino put up video game numbers when running games were pretty much 99%. Air Coryell notwithstanding. Even you had Stallworth and Swan, guess what? You had Franco and Fuqua or whatever running. And that was it. You didn't have both them with 800 catches, 1,600 yards, 15, 20 touchdowns. A good year for them was like 45 to 55 catches, 900 maybe topping out at 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. So, well, that's what I mean. He had contributions. He bridged from Stan Humphries to Craig Wheelahan. Or even if you want to get real dramatic, Stan Humphries to Drew Brees. Never mind Craig Wheelahan. The Marks, Clayton and Duper.
Clayton and Duper. Yep. Super duper.
The original Mark Clayton of the NFL.
I'd be interested to know who said player is. We can discuss offline, Dave.
They just scored. Columbus scored. Boone Jenner. That I tried to listen to that, and I'm like, how nobody's roasting these people in the comments. I don't know. I'm just saying you are all idiots. Just shut up. Every word you say makes you look dumber than your previous statement. Or the old Adam Sandler, Billy Madison, when he talks about ethics, business ethics, it's like, we are all now dumber for having to listen to what you do. I mean, that should play after every one of these videos. So that one was, the one guy came in and offered pretty much the least opposed to the others. And I mean that's saying a lot.
So those of us who follow football, there are individuals that do get into the Hall of Fame for contributions to the game. However, it is usually coaches, owners, commentators, business people. It's not players that bridge gaps between one player to the other.
No. Or one generation to the next. It's like
That's a little bit of a stretch.
asinine stuff. I mean, there's a lot of it, but not you want your top 5 list. That might make the top 5. It was just I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I'm like, I can't listen to this, but I have to because it's that bad.
The top 5 list of people who will never make the Hall of Fame, regardless of contributions to the game of bridging generational gaps.
But that a lot of your Hall of Fame now is going to be mediocre.
Yeah.
Because we live in that era, as Vinny alluded to earlier. Everybody's a GOAT in some way, shape, or form. It's not, man. Mahomes does another 8 to 10 years of this, wins 1 or 2 more titles. Yeah, you got to put him in a list of top 10. But you can't sit there and forget the guys that have come before him. And it's a completely different era now. You don't have Bart Starr with 4,500 yards passing or 5,000 or Unitas or Autogram or any of these guys from that era because the wing T. So you can't sit there and say, well, this guy, look at those numbers. They're not that great. Yeah. Show me what a new truck goes for now or a new car, and show me a new car in the 50s, the price. It's going to be not even night and day. It's going to be different galaxies. Same with looking at numbers for football. You look at some of the guys and then you come along. It's like, okay, Bradshaw throws for a little more. Then Fouts throws for a ton. Then you start trickling towards that. Then the 90s, you have Scott Mitchell throwing for like 4,800 yards. Harriman and Morris over 1,000 easily. And then, God, I know they had a running back too, and I can't. Besides Barry, I mean, I thought they had somebody else that was over or close to 100 catches, but then you had like Larry Centers.
Was that Mel Gray?
Might have been. I know he had a lot of receptions too. I mean, you had people that were like, holy crap, Rick Perriman's got like 88 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Terrence Mathis for Atlanta. It's like, okay, he's a good receiver. You don't put him in that same category as Rice. But
Sure you do, because of the contribution to the game.
During that era, but that's what I mean. It's like, if they're just saying stuff to be dumb or they're just that stupid, I lean to the latter very heavily.
Of course you do.
I'm just looking at some stats of the running backs we were talking about. Frenchie, he had 3,031 rushing yards. That's it.
Yeah.
21 touchdowns. So I said, okay, there's Frenchie. So let's see what Rocky did. Rocky Blyer. 3,865. Not much more.
No.
And he only had 23 total touchdowns.
And that's probably all in the red zone.
And attempts 980, average 4.2. So then you go to Franco, 12,120 rushing yards, 2,287 receiving yards. His yards per carry, the same as Rocky's, 4.1, but 91 touchdowns. Very interesting.
There you go. Eric says it. Everybody gets a trophy and gets into the Hall of Fame.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be like, well, did you win a Super Bowl? No. Do you know where the Super Bowl was held the year? like that, whatever your year you played your best year, they can name it off the top of their head. Oh, you're in the Hall of Fame.
I just always liked Frenchie Fuqua because he was just cool. I remember they had in the 70s, they came out with the Eaton Park was a restaurant in Pennsylvania. It's sort of like LB's. Eaton Park's the place for smiles. And it had a picture of Frenchie on there with Rocky and Franco. And I just remember those drinking out of those glasses for like, my aunt still has them. I go to her house, I go for that glass because I want to drink out of the glass with the Steelers on them. So they're like as old as me, 44. So again, tangent story, but
That's what you expect here. Random stories based on what we're talking about.
Not just shooing the conversation away.
yeah, and again, those are guys that, you know, Frenchie was the guy that allegedly touched the ball on the Immaculate Reception.
Mm-hmm.
And they always ask Frenchie, "Do you touch it?" He goes, "I'll never tell. I'll never tell." Because whether he did or didn't, at the end of the day, the mythical story is the referees asked the sheriff that was there at Three River Stadium, "If I overturn this and don't call it a touchdown, what do you think will happen?" He goes, "Won't be good. Won't be good." and touchdown. That was the alleged rumor back in the day that was passed on through Steelers lore. But
So Vinny, make sure you put your payment in the mail for using Dave's word this time.
which one did I use?
And again.
Oh, and again? Okay.
Hey, I gotta look out for Dave every once in a while. You know, make sure he gets his payments.
Yeah. It's like
It's in
oh, go ahead.
It's in the mail. Yeah, it's in the mail, right?
Yeah. It's where they usually is. And it's file 13 or status 13 or 39. What was it? 29, 39, 13?
I don't know. I got to find the box. I still have the box in my closet because it has her it has her address on it, and I haven't. That's used to. I always kept bubble mailers and boxes and stuff because I never bothered to put people's addresses and stuff somewhere where I could easily access them. So I still have the box. It's in my closet.
But it was like we were talking last week about the Mount Rushmores. I just named 3 guys right there in Steelers lore. You know, there's 3 guys you collect right there. If you want to hit running backs that made an impact on the game, those guys were at least 2 Super Bowls. Well, Rocky has 4. I think Franco has at least 3 or 4. And I think Frenchie, he only played 76, so he either has 1 or 2. Dave, your show. Sorry.
So I'll talk about work for a moment, and then we'll get into Steve, what he brought up or alluded to earlier in a cryptic way. Not crypto way, cryptic. So, yeah, right now it's just empty netter now, Nemestikov. The one store is, I think, Thursday's our last day in there to get anything out, so I got to get a couple things, like half pallets that I can put some stuff on. And then my ice cream carts, I got to get out of there. But I haven't been up there since Saturday because we finally brought the time clock down to the new store. At the new store, 3 or 4 times now, the boss, who's just the best in the world, it's like has me at like the other store. I'm like, I'll go there, help pile freight. They shouldn't be getting much in, even though it's like the only rodeo in town. At the same time, I'm not going to be carrying shit out for customers. If you think that, you can go up there. You bought this mess. It's not my mess. I'm going to be here and figuring out the frozen because they put in half the cases, whatever, a couple weeks back. So those have been spotted in. So everything minus like frozen fruit, Cool Whip, pies, snacks, in like that type of regard. Pizza snacks, and that's already spotted in, and then pizza hasn't been. So I brought out what, 2.5 pallets worth of stuff on Saturday. That was about 7 hours of work. Spotted it in, and then today did freight at the other store. Came to the new store, ordered for the new store stuff we didn't have or had very limited amounts because I've been told about 5 times, like, you really let the store run down. I said that was the plan because I don't want to fucking move, because I've moved enough in real life that I fucking hate it, and I'm not going to do all the work because I know that's who usually does it all. Here comes another one. Nope, he gives it up. Namnesnug Kenov could have scored, but he gave it to 23, whoever that is. 23? 73? 73. So, but yeah, for tomorrow's freight, fuck, there's gonna be like 350 pieces I ordered for just the frozen alone. I think there's 350 for dairy. The good part is the frozen cooler, as it were, or freezer, is a bit bigger, so that'll be nice. But I want to get some of that shelving in there and the pallets down, so it just sucks going back and forth doing this, trying to remember where we've got to be on that particular day, and because they're getting freight 4 times a week at the other store. I think I don't know if we're going to get any Friday, but I know Monday's going to be another another day of freight.
When's the new store open, Dave?
Next Wednesday.
Gotcha.
So that will be, I don't know. It's going to be a shit show. To whatever degree we'll be ready, but at the same time, you're going to have fucking everybody in town, and probably even down to like Virginia, which is about an hour away, probably coming up because it's like a train wreck. You want to see what's going on, what the new store has, what the hubbub's about, all this stuff, and it's like, you don't need people milling about because, again, you're just tired of people. You're tired of doing work, but there's more people, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm sure it'll be decent enough, but at the same time, people are just getting worn down. Work. That's not excruciatingly long hours. It's just you go from here, you go to there, you do this, you do that, and you come over here and do that, and then you've got a more of the mental aspect, which I know it sounds absolutely ludicrous to think that in the grocery store there's a lot of mental work, but again, you want to have stuff set up. If I was this particular with my cards, it'd be amazingly great for my cards, but I want everything set up the way I envision it. It's like, okay, I don't have enough Mexican stuff to fill a whole door. I've got about half of it. Okay, I can bleed over some of the Asian stuff. How am I going to do that? What am I going to do with the stuff that we didn't have there. And it just, you sit there and you look and you start to feel like the synapses like just shoot out. You're just like, fuck, I know what I want, but why am I not seeing it? So then you just go do something else for a while. And then you come back and you finally start going, but you just spend so much time looking because you know stuff you don't have there because you've never had it before, but you've had requests for it. It's like, okay, there's a certain type of ice cream that I don't know if it's down there. I'm sure it is, that Tillamook ice cream. Okay.
I don't do the grocery shopping, so
Vinny, you took yourself off mute.
No, we do not have that said ice cream.
And you want to get all the stuff that's like quote unquote popular, like the Rebel. I know that stuff's popular in a lot of areas. Because people are going to spend for that. If they want ice cream, they're not going to always buy the whatever's on sale or whatever the generic brand is. They're going to say, well, I want the Haagen-Dazs. I want the Ben and Jerry's. That's something I want to treat myself. It's a treat, not let's fucking pinch pennies on the exceptional value light vanilla or whatever. It's like, no, I'll go eat in the garbage again. That's what I'll do. But you just trying to like, because I know the warehouse made a financial commitment to the store to do all this stuff, so I know they're beholden to it. I don't want to be. I'll go along with a lot, but I mean, if there's something that I know I'd like to try besides a fucking cheap ass shit, I want to try it. If it doesn't sell, hey, that's on me. Guess what? We tried it. We'll move on. But if you sit there with your generic shit and it doesn't move forever, what the fuck's the point of that? If you're throwing half of it out because you don't get credit on the store brand, I don't know. So those are my conundrums, my first world life problems right now. But, I know.
could always be worse, Dave.
Oh, I know.
Could always be worse.
I know. I'm just in my bubble. That's where it's a lot of work, a lot of trying to figure things out. And Thursday, going to work. Jessica picked me up. We're gonna go out to Fargo for a wrestling event because there's a couple guys one that I haven't wanted to meet forever, but I know this is sort of the shot where you're gonna get it. I know you don't watch any of that AEW. If you do, it's Passing Fancies. He's been on there for the last month and a half. And I don't know how long he'll be around in the States before he goes back to Japan. Minoru Suzuki. He's fought John Moxley, FKA, Dean Ambrose. This past Friday, he fought Bryan Danielson on their before Rampage show. And to have him there, it's like that doesn't come along. And then another guy I love, Paul London, who used to team up with Brian Kendrick in WWF and then in like PWG and some of the stuff out in California way back when. He's gonna be out there, and that's a guy basically looks like Matrix guy, not Jackson, the Keanu Reeves, maybe.
Correct.
So Neo,
Yeah, he basically looks like him. So I'm very excited for that, but I hate the timing. It's a Thursday because it's our the school in Minnesota has like a I don't know MEA, Minnesota Education or Educators I don't know association or something, but it's like you get Thursday, Friday off coupled with the weekend. And I was like, weekend would be great. the Thursday, I'm like, ugh, I gotta try to get stuff done at work, then leave. So that's like a 5-hour drive, I think, out. Trista wants to show me where she went to college out there. She went to Concordia Moorhead, which is right on the border of Fargo, hence it Fargo Moorhead. And then have dinner and then go to wrestling because that starts at 8. I don't know, doors probably open at 7. I got the meet and greet. Probably get to talk to Paul London too and get pictures with him and a picture autographed for Naomi and her collection of never-ending wrestling shit. So, and then come back that night to her place in Gilbert, so that's 4 hours. And then get back to Ely hopefully before noon on Friday to get work in. Because again, it's I don't know what I'll have to order for Friday, but I know it's going to be probably of the ice cream pizza persuasion just to fill up the shelves. So fuck, it's just not ending. That's the bad part where it's like, where's? And I know I had the break in August into September. I know that. I also knew that this was coming, but it's been pushed back so much now that you just want to be done. And I wouldn't even want to go on vacation. I just want like a week to just lay in bed and sleep or do nothing. Just nothing.
There's nothing wrong with the staycation from time to time, Dave, where you don't do anything. Or if you do something, it's of benefit, that's something that you've been putting off and you have extra time to do it in. You're not set on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of do bits and pieces and things along those lines. Staycations are good. I will actually be on a staycation November 18th. I took off the 18th, the 19th, and the 22nd. My wife is having surgery, so I'll be catering to her hand and foot for a few days. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I can tell.
Do what?
I can tell.
Well, this is something that she's been putting off for a long time. Long time. So it's a good thing. She finally got herself convinced that it needed to be done. So for those that want to know, she's going in for a full hysterectomy. It's time. It's time. So I won't go into details as to why, but you know, it's way overdue. Well, and I'll leave it at that. So yeah, she goes in Thursday morning, and hopefully she'll get to come home that night. It all kind of depends on, you know, how she reacts to the anesthesia, of course.
Yeah.
But at a minimum, you know, at the latest, she'll come home Friday. She's off 4 weeks from work. But, you know, at least for the first few days after surgery, try and make it easier on her so she doesn't have to do a whole lot. I'll wait on her hand and foot. So yeah, that's coming.
Well, I don't say this jokingly because I know it's gonna sound that way, but me not being a very religious person, I don't send thoughts and prayers. It's like good vibes her way.
I appreciate it.
Now if I said hashtag good vibes only. Yeah, exactly. Or whoever that is. Dryden or Dreidel or
Cradle, Dryden, Ghost, and Galaxy, and that would be Ghost, the idiot.
Ghost the idiot.
Go play outside. Go.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. No, it's laparoscopic, so it's 2 small incisions. That is in the perfect world, but that's the expectation. So that's what we're hoping for. We hope it goes minimally invasive, as what their plan is, and so it is a little nerve wracking. But at the same time, it's like there are worse alternatives to not going and getting it done, and running the risk of ovarian cancer and all sorts of stuff because that shit runs in her family.
Okay.
So there's more to the story, but I won't, like I said, I won't go into, details because nobody wants to hear about it. I'm just glad it got scheduled finally.
Yeah, you put it off, you put it off, you put it off, and by the time you get to it, it could be too late. So
Yep.
that's hereditary. There being a back shit.
May you not have happened what I had happen when the better half was in surgery last time. So she's in surgery for 5 hours, and on 2 occasions, the fire department was called. And I'm like, the nurse comes out, everything's fine. Just a little malfunction. I'm like, what, pray tell, operating room is the malfunction in? Operating room 2. You mean where my wife is? Yeah, but she's okay. The first time, okay. The second time that the fire and EMS and everybody shows up, fix your thing. Because, yeah, I know you didn't hear anything because you were out cold.
You better hope nothing like that happens.
I would.
Or I'm flying my ass to Minnesota and I'm going to shove my foot up. You know what? As he's frozen. It's like perfect. He's just frozen. It's
I was
perfect.
actually just sitting still, but I was frozen for a second. Yeah, true.
I was going to say, you don't ever sit still. And then there's Dave trying to act like he's sitting still.
Doing a hell of a job.
Oh, I saw him moving.
The shadows from the TV don't help either, or the light contrast.
So yeah, everybody be thinking of me on the 18th next month. That's a week before Thanksgiving in the U.S. for those U.S. people, for you non-U.S. people. Because y'all already had Thanksgiving.
I said Ghost down there as a service dog. It'll make her feel better.
Over my dead body. Return to sender.
Address unknown.
Yeah, that's why we
Yeah.
took him in the first place. They said he was incorrigible. So, go figure. Mhm.
Exactly. It never fails. It never fails.
Go hit your mother.
No, they want to sit there and bother you.
No.
It's much more enjoyable for them.
He's just like her.
Excuse you?
You heard me. He's just like you. He's temperamental.
I'm not.
I beg to differ.
I'm not Steve.
I don't even know if she's watching you guys unless she hears you from the bedroom because I left it on in the bedroom again for her viewing pleasure.
Well, then she probably heard me.
Pumping them watch hours, baby. Pump those watch hours.
Yeah, well, it's not helping us financially, so. Oh, I forget. We're not doing this for the fame and fortune. Damn it.
Finn,
What were we thinking, Dave? What were we thinking?
We weren't.
Obviously not.
Interesting, Eric. You're interesting.
We could be. We could be. We could be. That is a fair statement, Eric. That is a fair statement. I'll have to flip a coin to see who I'll be a character witness for. No offense, Vinny.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Hey, I love you both, man. That's hard. That's hard, man. There you go, Dave. What's it worth to you?
Nothing, because she has all the money.
Well, that's true too. So, I guess I'm gonna have to go with her, Vinny. You're screwed.
As most of the time I am.
Oh, here she is.
I see.
Interesting. The plot thickens. Hopefully, that's allegedly their better half. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Of course, she's going to bust out with the hashtag not allegedly. Oh, it's always interesting as the night progresses. The things that come to light, the conversations, the topics, the jabs.
The
It's
Gauzy's
fun.
crazy train, man. The Gauzy's crazy train.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to be crazy a little bit to hang around with this crew.
This is. By the way, the Arby's chicken sandwich, pretty decent.
I don't know if we've had that one yet.
The better half got it tonight. She gave me a bite. It was quite good.
See, I'm very plain when it comes to things, so I don't deal with all the mayo and the spicy mayo. I'm a plain and dry kind of guy, so I really base it on the chicken. And I have to say, the Popeyes chicken sandwich, even plain, it's well done. It's well done.
no, walk.
I like
This show has gone to the dogs. It does every time about this time, Eric, because Vinny's forced to go to table duty.
He's arguing with the wife now.
Yes, Paul, I'm a boring kind of guy. I'm just as bad as Carlos is when it comes to my food in a lot of sense.
Same here. I like it plain and dry.
But I do have to agree with Dave. The whole advertisement for McDonald's crispy chicken sandwich, they need to look at the definition of crispy because it ain't freaking crispy.
no, not a thing.
It's not bad, but when you think of if it's going to be advertised crispy chicken, you're expecting it to be crunchy, crispy.
Yeah.
So a little bit of false advertisement there. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I don't mind. I usually get the spicy one, whatever it is. It's spicy. But plain or what will they call it? Naked. I'm sure. Stuff that's naked, it's still good. I love that Popeyes, the crunch, just the coating, whatever they coat it in. It's almost like the old school. Like you can't afford the crumbs for like the shake and bake, so you have to have like cornflakes. You have to like crumble up cornflakes, so it's a lot better that way. Where and it's a chunkier breast or whatever they use for the meat. The the Chick-fil-A, it's good too, but I think the spice is on there more. But again, you put them in front of me, I'm not gonna fucking say no to either of them. They're all gonna get consumed. I've done it before, I can do it again. I like this one better than the other one, so buy both of them.
Has anybody tried the KFC one yet? Just out of curiosity.
It's good.
I tried the spicy one when we went down to Appleton, and I liked it. Other than the pickle rolling down my stomach as I ate it, driving, I'm like, okay, there goes a pickle, great. But I liked it. It was
I haven't tried it yet. That's why I was asking.
I liked it out of I like it better than Popeyes. Popeyes is like third. The wife doesn't like Popeyes, so we don't go there very often.
Ooh.
And then we keep Zaxby's and Cane's are in a different category because they're not chicken sandwiches, they're chicken fingers. So
or tenders, chicken tenders.
yeah, tenders.
Yeah, that's in their own category. That doesn't count.
Yeah, Raising Cane's is that's good.
I was so disappointed because now that we have a Chick-fil-A here, when we were in Ohio for that soccer tournament, and I was sending the picture of the chicken sandwich, as you can see in the background, there's C and there's a Cane's, and we missed it. But the better half got parking spaces at Kalahari that were so good that she did not want to venture off. And we never went back to Cane's. So I didn't get my Cane's fix, which I haven't had since 2019. So it's been a while. 18 maybe.
Wah.
Eh. Zaxby's the same because there's none here.
We had one briefly in the Colony, which is south of here, and they put it into a location that's probably been about 10 different restaurants since I can remember. It's been a sushi place, it's been a barbecue joint, it's been Zaxby's, it's been Chinese food. Anything you can possibly think of has been thrown in that building, and nothing has lasted.
We have
And it's
places like that here.
but it's right on the main strip, which is interesting. I mean, it's on Main Street in the Colony, so it's the main drag through the city. But for whatever reason, that one restaurant just never stuck. But then again, they also closed the McDonald's. So
So I go in our room and I have Steve on surround sound in our bedroom. That is disturbing.
that hurts my feelings.
Is it?
That hurts my feelings. I'm hurt. I am hurt.
With the utmost respect.
It didn't sound that way.
No, I'm hurt. Yeah, I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally hurt. Yep, I think I'm gonna cry.
And you're wearing a shirt right now.
Do you want to be in the bedroom with Vinny? I'll send them your way, Steve.
I didn't say that was not the topic of conversation. You said that you walk into the bedroom and you have me on surround sound and it's extremely disturbing. What does that have anything to do with sleeping with Benny?
So everything is on delay now. We have you.
I know. I hear it. I hear it in the background.
So my ultimate plan is for the people that that I do like. If they ever do monetize, they will be at watching hours. If they ever do monetize,
It's at views.
views, whatever. I keep on refreshing, baby.
Can you stop shaking?
Later, Ty. No, not heard enough to sing. Nope, that is not happening. I do not sing. I do not sing in public.
He's actually calmed down.
Did you give him a tranquilizer?
I don't know what it is. He's just laying there. Huh, buddy? He's like I said, he had a rough start to his life before he came here. And sometimes he forgets he's in a better place. How, buddy? Mm-hmm. And then there's Charlie.
Now is not the time to be a lapdog.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is.
Perfect.
Wow, he actually listened this time. Unlike Saturday night, I was struggling.
Yeah. Ghost weighs about 105 pounds. So when he decides to be a lapdog, which he very rarely does, he is quite the weight. Or he just comes in the bed and he lays his big old butt on you, and that's where he just stays. Hi, just getting up and close and personal. Pet me. I'm going to sleep now. And usually I just abide by it because, frankly, it's better than him yapping in my ear. And Steve, you wanted to go back to the thing you sent the chat?
Oh, that would shit up, bro. That could actually like go into 3-hour territory. We may need to revisit that at a later time. Because it was more, I was more from a curiosity perspective of who would have seen it, and if anybody had any said comment on it more than anything. But like I said, that could carry on another 45 minutes or so.
We could bring that up early next week.
Yeah, that may be something we'll just put in the memory bank. And normally I know we've always tried to maintain consistency, and we have technically as of late been going about 2.5 hours. Part of that's Dave's fault for having to get up early, but I will also take blame to that because I'm about to transition positions at work. There's been a lot of freaking early meetings, and I'm not a morning person like Dave. I hate the only good part of a morning is that my feet hit the floor every day. That's what makes it good. Outside of that, I hate mornings. And normally I get up at 7:30, but when you start having meetings at 7:00, you have to push back the alarm clock and actually get up earlier, which I don't like. And yes, Dave, I know it's not your 4 a.m. Everybody has crap schedules, but I need my beauty sleep because I ain't getting any prettier. This mug is getting uglier by the day. So
Mine was always perfect.
what was that, Vinny?
I said mine was just always this perfect.
I bet you your wife would disagree.
Oh, wholeheartedly. I would disagree. The level of BS that's coming out of my mouth right now is pretty thick.
Yeah, I guess I should have worn my boots today.
You need more than boots.
My galoshes.
Waiters.
I was gonna say your wafers. Doing some fly fishing in this shit. That's been the only good part about this sort of like transition. There hasn't been any of those super early mornings. I've been up by usually 5:30. So that's been good. I know one guy today at the other store is like, "Oh, you're up bright and early," and it was like 10 to 7. I said, "Man, this is if I came here every day at this time, that's that's insane." I'm like, I'm usually at work by 4, and he just looked at me. I'm like, yeah, we usually have more than just like 1 or 2 pallets. I mean, there's like 8 pallets for grocery, 2 to 3 for frozen, if not more, 2 to 3 for dairy, 2 or 3 for the meat department, and then 6 to 8 for the produce with who they get their stuff both from. And he's just like, oh, uh-huh. I'm like, I don't need this to draw out. I want to get this done because there's other work to be done. Oh. Mm-hmm. That's why we're the crabby people up at the other store. Because we're busy. You guys, not so much. So,
Oh, how sweet. And on that note, let's wrap it up. It's getting too soppy in here now. We don't do this. This is not the softer side of Sears, damn it.
yeah, this isn't the Hallmark channel. Thank you, Vinny, for coming on. Thank you to everybody in the chat again. Always chugging through, and that helps. I'm in the same boat, Bobby. That very much so. That means you get done, at least in my case, by at least 1 or 2. So, again, within the next couple of weeks, there will be. You got the spoiler tonight for one of the subjects. I don't know if it'll be next week. We'll see. And thank you, thanks, Rick. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to have donations or monetary benefits our way, we take crypto wallet, money order, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, direct deposit,
Cash App.
Cash App, Western Union. No, Eric, we don't beg. I just say, if it's within the goodness and kindness of your heart, then you will give to us. If you don't have a kind and good heart, no money is given our way. And we're 61 episodes in, and I'd like to see a little more kindness.
Hey, he did offer a recommendation. Rolled coins, as long as they're legitimate.
Yeah, I don't want to have like Monopoly money in there or some other like playset money. It's got to be U.S., preferably U.S. currency.
We don't want a roll of dimes and find out that it's pennies.
Yeah. You don't do that to friends or even people you I won't say hang around with, but associate with. You do that to the influencers. Remember?
No, you send them shit.
Send them a how-to video on YouTube. Remember our OnlyFans, our Discord. I don't think who else I don't even remember.
MySpace, Twitch.
MySpace, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, our Instagram page that we're constantly talking about, like Lego people and fucking whatever else. The Uno champion of Montana will be on next week, maybe.
And as the influence say as I heard this week, all has to be under $600 for reasons. So any donations under $600.
That $5.99.99 threshold, please, for everybody's benefit.
Friends and family.
Multiple, but just make it that under 600 out of the gate. So, with that, Vinny, Steve, Dave, this has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Remember, collecting cards, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. The friendships you forge in this hobby, that's what it really should be about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.